Hey everyone, welcome to Wandering Jews with Michal and Noam. For the second week in a row, it's just me today. And have no fear, Michal is coming back from her trip to Israel in a few days, and I am sure we will have a lot to talk about. In the meantime, we have a crossover episode, an incredibly powerful release from my other podcast, Unpacking Israeli History. This week I spoke with Eli Sharabi. I don't even have an appropriate adjective to describe Eli Sharabi. Sharabi just published a book about the 491 days he spent as a captive of Hamas in Gaza, a book called Hostage. His book and his story were life-changing, and this conversation was profoundly meaningful to me. I hope it will be for you as well. So please take a listen, and as always, let us know your thoughts. Be in touch at wanderingjews@unpacked.media. That's wanderingjews@unpacked.media. And now my interview with Eli Sharabi. Eli, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I actually want to start this interview by telling you something, Eli. Reading your book which I have right here, Hostage, it made me cry. It made me cry a lot, and I'm not a crier at all. But there was one point in your memoir where your captors mock you and try to persuade you to think that Israelis, Jews around the world, people around the world who are good people forgot about you. You mentioned this at some point. And I want you to know that not for a second is that true. Not for a second was that true. Every single week in my community, my wife and their friends were davening, praying for you. Every single week, every single day, every single Shabbat. We had a chair with your name on it and others' names on it. Other captives thought about you all the time. I'm in South Florida. And this is true for me. This is true for millions of other people. And that was a moment that I lost it reading your book, because I couldn't imagine what it could feel like for you to think that people like me and others, people that never met you, but that we forgot about you. And I want you to know, not for a second is that true.
Thank you very much. But it was a part of their psychological terror. We didn't really, try not to pay attention to that. We understood what they are trying to do. And since my release, I start to understand what Am Israel and the Jewish communities around the world did for the hostages, and prayed and fought at the streets, and all these protests and marches. And it was really warm my heart to see all this sort of solidarity of the Jewish community with the Israeli people. And that's what we really need to know, that we are not alone. And I've been in many Jewish communities since I was released in the world, and I was very grateful to them and thank them personally, each one of them. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you. And Eli, I want to start asking you a number of questions right now. You've become a symbol. Everyone knows your name. Everyone in the Jewish community knows your name, Eli Sharabi. But who are you to yourself? Are you a hostage? Are you a father, a bereaved father, an Av Shakul? Are you an Israeli, a Jew, a patriot, a nationalist? Who are you? What is your identity?
Well, first of all, I'm a Jew and Israeli, and of course I'm a father, and I will always be a father of Noya and Gahel, and a husband for Lian, and nothing will change it. And I will be always a son to my mother and brother, to my brothers and sisters. And it's not all gone, nothing of that, and nothing will change it. And if I think anything, that will change of my status, I'll probably let them win. And I'm not going to do that. And I don't think I have any privilege to stay in bed all day and cry. So I never considered myself as a victim. I'm a survivor. I'm waking up every day, choosing life, and I'm doing, all my best that my brother Yossi and my wife Lian and my daughters Noya and Dehel will be proud of me.
Well, they definitely, without a doubt, they definitely would. The last page of your book, and I'm not going to give it away, but the last page of your book is, I probably read it 5 or 6 times. I was thinking about it as a message for me and message for all of us. But one of the things that I keep on thinking about when reading your book is wondering this question. For 491 days, you were a hostage. You were in captivity. And I'm wondering if you ever turned to Jewish history for strength, if you ever turned to Natan Sharansky and thinking about him and what it was like to be in the Soviet Gulag, or you thought about even the Holocaust, when in the book you talk about making kiddush on Friday night on water and not on grape juice. You talk about having small acts of rebellion, like drinking the orange Fanta soda, and that made me like laugh. I was cracking up at that point in the book. I was like, what a move, Eli. Did you turn to Jewish history for strength?
Of course, we all four of us that have been 14 months together, 24/7, 50 meters underground. We've talked about a lot of Holocaust survivors, and of course, Natan Sharansky and Gilad Shalit after that. And we've talked all about them and all of them. But when you're there, you know you have no way to give up. You know that people's outside, your family, your friends, fighting for you. There's no way you give up, and you take any source that can give you strength, like faith in God. And we are not religious, all four of us. And we prayed every morning. We've waited for Friday evening to do this kiddush. And I said Eshet Chayil to my mother, my sisters, my wife, and to say kiddush for water anyway. We didn't have wine. To keep this quarter pita of bread, just to do havotzi lechem min haaretz. And all these blessings gave us lots of strength and remind us our family right now sitting around the table and be together and worried about us. And it was very, very emotional moments for us, and it was very important. And of course, surviving build for small victories, never one big heroic victory. And you understand that, and you try to have small victories every day.
Yeah, you mentioned in the book that even though you don't identify or did not identify somebody who is religious, there was a moment in time in which the captors tried to get you to embrace Islam, and they tried to get you to say, I believe in Islam. I'm a Muslim, and I will pray in your way. I kept on thinking, Eli, I don't get it. If I'm there and I want a little bit more of something, I want to have something that you talked about, the pain of hunger throughout. And if you're not a religious person, why did you not just say, okay, I'll either make believe, I'll embrace Islam, I'll just do it? Why not? If you're a secular person, not so religious, why not just embrace Islam at that moment?
I know it sounds crazy because we really, really were hungry, and you never can understand how much hungry you can be. And you eat every crumb from the carpet after you get this one meal a day, and you can eat the walls if they let you, that and it will be a food for you or something like that. And when we refuse to their bribe just for saying some sentences from the Quran and to say we are Muslims or something like that, it's much more, I wouldn't say important, but it's lift your spirit up, and sometimes this this winnings of the spirit, it's much more than the food. And it's amazing this feeling that we are together and we refuse to eat their bribe food. And that was amazing feeling for us.
Did you know that you would have the strength in these moments to say, I'm not going to embrace Islam, or I'm going to follow my moral compass? Did you know that about yourself before you were taken hostage?
I never thought about it. I always knew that I'm a very strong person in my mind. Always had this center that I know what I am and what can I do and what is my boundaries and my values that my parents raised me with. And so I knew all these things, but you never know how you react in this extreme situation. So because of that, I'm not judging anyone that do things in this situation. It's not for me to judge these things. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm choosing to do, and it's enough for me.
Every single time I say the Shema now, you mentioned that for 491 days, you said the prayer, which is what I view it as is the pledge of allegiance of the Jewish people. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Hear, O Israel, God is our God, God is one. And you said it every day when you were there, 491 days. And I know I'm supposed to be thinking about God when I say that, but I have you in my mind. Because it's something that you committed to doing. I don't even know if would you say you committed to it or you just did it because they brought you something?
The first moment they pushed me in the back of the car in the day of October 7, I say it automatically. It's something that was deep down in me. I'm not religious. I don't live a religious life. I was raised in a traditional family that we used to do a kiddush every Friday and go to the synagogue on holidays and Friday with my father. But I wasn't religious. And automatically in the car on October 7, it's, I've said that once and I didn't stop since then. It gave me a lot of strength. I really believed all the way 491 days that I have this Ashgaha Pratit, that something protect me. I don't know why I felt that. That was amazing for me. I could die, at least 10, 20 times during this captivity. And something protect me. And somebody wanted me alive. That's what I believe. So, my faith has got stronger after this captivity. I'm still not religious, but I really believe in this power of faith.
Yeah. The hashgacha pratit, the Hebrew word that you used, means divine providence. That something is watching over you. I want to switch from talking about you to talking about the experience with Hamas in the book. And what I've heard you do throughout is you humanize your captors in the book. You talk about how they speak to their children, speak to their families. And I was moved by how human you viewed them, but you also made clear it was not from Stockholm Syndrome. It's not that you started to identify with them or their cause in any sort of way. For many people around the globe, people like me maybe, and others listening, they see Hamas captors not as human, maybe because we don't know Hamas captors, and what we hear from Hamas captors, they just sound awful. They sound like they're doing something that is despicable, Nazi-like. So how did you do that? How do you humanize your captors?
It's a tough question, I don't know if I humanize them or not. They're probably human beings, very twisted, very cruel. They are terrorists. They be able to murder women, children, babies, old people, just like that, without really thinking about that. It didn't really, bother them at all. And they are very twisted human being, that's for sure. And that's the problem with the jihad, fundamentalistic jihad. They are brainwashed, and that's awful. But again, I live with them 24/7 in the same place, and I know the relationship I'm having with them going to help me to survive, and I'm going to do everything that helped me to survive, because that's what I promised to my daughters when they took me out from the house on October 7. I told them I'll come back, and I wanted to make this promise. I didn't care if it would be with hands or no hands, with legs or no legs. I didn't care. So for me to have a relationship with these people, it was very, very important to my survivor. So so that's what I did.
That's what you did, and you humanized them throughout the book, again without identifying with them.
Yeah.
But there's Hamas captors, but there's something else. There's also the question of Palestinians. Are there any innocent Palestinians from your perspective? You were not just with Hamas people, but at different times, regular people in bedrooms of little kids, with mothers and fathers, people who could have been, I don't know, different jobs, doctors, teachers, whatever they were. From what you've seen and from what you know, do you believe there are innocent Palestinians? And what does it mean to be innocent?
Okay. From my experience, what I experienced, the civilians in Gaza, the Gazans, and I met doctors and teachers and all what you mentioned, and no one of them were so-called uninvolved, unfortunately. Um, I don't know if it's all the Palestinian or the Gazans. I don't know. I mean, from my experience, the people I've met, it was times that Hamas terrorist was afraid from the civilians outside when we've been in this house of this family, and they were afraid they will notice that I'm not local in this house, and they will come to lynch us. That's what I can say. So unfortunately, I didn't meet anyone that was with the compassion or uninvolved. They all cheered for Hamas. In the first stop of October 7 in the mosque, there was a mob of civilians that tried to lynch me. So that's the Gazans, the civilians I experienced.
Do you think there's any way for them to not behave that way? Do you think they're almost controlled by Hamas? In the book, it felt like a lot of your captors, interestingly, you speak a lot in your book about the power of choice, which I want to get to in a little bit. But it sounded to me like your captors didn't live a life of choice. They seemed to be living a life of submission to their higher authorities, submission to God, their perception of God, I should say. Do you think that there's a way for them to liberate themselves from this extreme ideology?
Well, I'm sure it will be extremely difficult for them to, not to be controlled by Hamas or maybe other terror organizations, because you need a very, very strong leadership to take their place. And I can't see there's anyone that can do it. They control the money, they control the weapon in Gaza. So you can say that probably some Gazans are, you can count them as hostages for Hamas. I can tell you they don't care about their population. We've seen, from this humanitarian aid that was for their population that will have food. They stole dozens of boxes every week, every 2 weeks. They brought it to the tunnels, and they ate like kings 5 times a day. And we went during that time. We ate one meal, and I'm sure that some Gazans probably didn't have food as well. So unfortunately, I can't see, I can't see them not controlled by Hamas. So this is the reality of Gaza.
What I found remarkable was the juxtaposition of the inability of your captors to live a life of choice and to think about how you, who were in captivity, chose nonstop to live a life of choice. You wrote at one point in your book, channel your strength toward the things that you can manage and stay yourself. You spoke about what I call in Hebrew, simchat hayom, in Hebrew meaning something that was positive from the day. Every single Shabbat, every single Friday night with my family, what we do is this thing called simchat hashavua, something positive throughout the week. That everyone says one thing. And you know what? Sometimes we don't realize what we have, and the kids start saying, I don't know what happened this week that was good. And then I read your book, and you talked about in captivity, simchat hayom, something positive from the day that you had. The positive, and I kept on thinking, positive from the day? What does that mean? You spoke about, could you give examples of how you figured out something to be positive from the day while in captivity, and how did you think about that?
First of all, about to choose, I knew that I didn't choose to be kidnapped, and not what happened to us on October 7th, that's for sure. But I always chose how to react to situations. And I can cry all day, and I can be, positive and talk with the other hostages and pray and pray. I can do loads of things. This is all choices you have that you can do or not to do in your day. And I, noticed that from time to time, the young guys, the young hostages, didn't have enough faith, and sometimes I was depressed from the day or from the situation, and it was very important for me that we'll have this, Like their face, it's not something automatically coming to you. You need to work on that. And I noticed that we need something to lift up our spirit. So I knew that to talk about something good that's happening to you, it's like a muscle that you need to work on and give you optimistic moment, and it will help you to survive the next day. And they look at me like I'm insane in the first time I told them that. And they told me, well, we fell 50 meters underground. What can be good here? We are chained in our legs. We are humiliated daily basis. They use violence against us. They're starving us. There's darkness around us. And I said to them, I'm sure something good happened to us the same day. And in the beginning, I forced them to say that, and each one of them start to say. And I think after 2 or 3 weeks, each one of them start to find 4 and 5 things that could happening to him in the same day. And that was amazing, amazing moment in the evening. That it was something like 10, 15 things that good to that all of us said that happened to us. And just for example, it can be a more spoon of rice, sugar in the tea if they gave us once a week, once or 2 weeks. The guy that brought the food is not the guy that humiliates you every day. Or this guy may be left at the tunnel for 2 or 3 days. So we have now 2 or 3 days without him. That's amazing thing. Or we will be able to sleep without nightmare. It's a great thing. So all these things, it's good that happen to you on the same day, give you lots of strength for the next day. That was the idea, and I was very, very proud of these guys, of the process we made, and it gave us lots of strength.
Yeah, that's an unbelievable leadership by you in that moment. I keep on thinking about something else that you talk about in your book. I think about the Hirsch. Hirsch shows up in your book. He's a name that people like me and many others, I know his mother, I've had her on this podcast, Rachel Goldberg-Polin, and John, of course. And I always think, I've been thinking about Hirsch for the last couple of years as well. I even would say Hirsch's name whenever I went to Starbucks to order a drink. I would say that my name is Hirsch in order for people to just know the name Hirsch. The random Starbucks person in, I don't know, North Carolina, I want them to know who Hirsch is. I want them to say the name, say the name, say the name. So hearing Hirsch's voice, not his name, but his voice in your book also gave me strength. He says this line, he who has a why can bear any how, which is reminiscent of Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning. And it seemed like that was a big moment for you and for others. And you clearly had your why when you were 50 meters underground. And your why was Noya, Yahel, Liane. Your why was even yourself, Eli Sharabi, yourself. You knew that you wanted to live for yourself also. What's your why now?
First of all, a few words about Hirsch. If you mentioned him, amazing, intelligent guy. I wish he had, a different end. Him and Ori Danino and Almog Sarusi that were with us. Unfortunately, their end was tragic, and I'm really, really sorry for his parents. And you all know his parents is amazing, amazing people. So I really, and he influenced us a lot. And with this sentence, it just gave words for our behavior. And it was amazing for me. And because I didn't know this sentence before. And the why I have now, it's a lot. I have loads of why, because again, I love life. I have great, amazing family that fought for me 500 days. My friends stopped their life as well and support my family and fought for me as well. And I can see all this Am Israel and the Jewish people around the world that prayed for me and fought for the hostages and the hostage families. And I can be just grateful for that. So I don't have the privilege to stay in bed all day and cry. I don't get any strength from sadness, to be angry or self-pity. And again, I'm not consider myself as a victim. So I'm trying just to be in a doing mode, and I will have amazing full life. I will rebuild my life, and as I said, that's the way for me that to memorial with my wife and my daughters and my brother.
I know you have a hard stop, so I want to ask you two more quick questions, Eli. Question number one is, you've experienced something that only one other living person has, coming out of captivity and finding your wife and children were murdered without you knowing. Unlike Yarden Bibas, you've been really public and open. Are you guys talking behind the scenes? Do you find comfort and solidarity with him?
I've noticed, I've been in Washington to go to Mr. Trump and to President Trump and Mr. Witkoff a month after my release. I've been in this delegation with a few other hostages, and they start to talk about their experience from captivity, and I've seen it's not good for me. It's not doing any good for me. I'm dealing with my situation and talking about my experience with my therapist and all this. So to talk with other hostages about our experience not doing good for me. So I'm not in a connection with Yarden. Hope for him. He will have, he rebuild his life. Really hope for him. I know what I'm doing. It's good for me. I don't want to give any suggestion to other people.
Yeah. So my last question for you, Eli, is a lot of the people who listen to this podcast are not Jewish. Probably 50 to 60% are not Jewish, and they're from across the world. And I'm wondering what message you have for the Jewish people, for non-Jewish people, for all people listening to you. What's the message that you have about the Jewish people, about Israel, about Israeli-Palestinian conflict, about your story? What's a message that you want to leave everyone with?
First of all, to be united against terrorism and the Jewish communities with Israel, will be appreciated if the world will see what we see and, not hate us. Just look at the facts. It will be amazing. We know that there's a lot of ignorance in the world about this conflict, and people opinion based sometimes because they don't know enough, and maybe they have listened to social media fake news or fake facts. I don't know. So that's what I can say before you say your opinion. And you don't have to agree with me, and you can have disagreements. That's fine. That's not a problem. We have disagreements in Israel between between our leadership, and it's fine. That's what is good in democracy. But just to hear about anti-Semitism in the world in 2025, not 1940s, and people, Jewish people that afraid to walk in the streets where they live for such a long time, years by years, in United States, United Kingdom, in Australia, anywhere. It's a shame. It's unbelievable, really unbelievable. And when I met prime ministers, and parliament members, what I'm saying to them, it's their responsibility to have a stronger voice against anti-Semitism.
Well, Eli, you are a source of strength, a source of inspiration. Your spirit is something that the Jewish people and all people need. I really believe that young people, Jewish people, all people need heroes to look up to. You didn't ask to be a hero, but you are a hero. And I want to make sure that everyone checks out Hostage, Eli Sharabi's book. I could not put it down. And Eli, I feel so grateful to have the opportunity to speak with you, someone I look up to, someone I've been davening for, someone that I've known for a couple years. But you didn't know me, but I'm just like anyone else in the world who has known you, who has been thinking about you. And it was a privilege to have a conversation with you. So thank you, Eli.
Thank you very much for having me. Bye.
Thank you.
Wandering Jews with Michal and Noam is a production of Unpacked, an OpenDor Media brand.
Subscribe to Wandering Jews wherever you're listening to this pod. And if you're on YouTube, check out Wandering Jews there. If you're on Instagram, check out Wandering Jews there. And most of all, be in touch. Write us at wanderingjews@unpacked.media.
Our executive producer is Ryan Rabinovitz, and the team includes Jenny Falcon, Alex Harris, Rov Pera, and Rivki Stern. I'm Michal Biton.
And I'm Noam Weissman. See you next week.